It's Pegasus World Cup Day. Let's dive in.
Trust the Profits is proud to be sponsored by Game of Silks. Go to silks.io to get in the game. Real ownership, real races, real rewards.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the Pick 5 Player Show. I'm your host, Michael Pellerin, a.k.a. Horse Guy Mike. Happy to be back. Been taking a little bit of a break for the holiday season, but the horse racing season is really heating up. Pegasus World Cup, I like to consider it the unofficial kickoff to the new year. So we're back. We got an all-graded stakes Pick 5 at Gulfstream Park for this Saturday, Pegasus World Cup Day. Really excited to be back. Really excited to be back handicapping at Gulfstream, one of my favorite tracks. Try to visit there every year for the Florida Derby, Fountain of Youth. Hopefully one year I'll be able to get down there for the Pegasus in person. But for this one, we're going to be looking at the 5 graded stakes races for the late Pick 5, starting in race number 9, finishing up in race 13 with the Pegasus World Cup. With that said, let's go ahead and dive into race number 1. We're actually looking at a nice little single to kick off the sequence here. Cool thing about singling in the first leg is if you don't get it, just fire back at the Pick 4. You can always get some value there. I'm going to be singling the number 8 horse, Gerrymander. For those of you who watched last year, I was a big fan of Gerrymander, and she had that monster performance at Aqueduct back in October. She came back. I singled her last back at Aqueduct back in December. It was 1 mile on the slop. I didn't like her performance there, but I'm going to just draw a line through it. She didn't take to the slop. She got tired early. Here she's cutting back in distance, going from a mile to 7 furlongs. She likes to get on the lead. 2 races back, she had a 112 Brisnet speed figure. Just an insane number, significantly better than anything else in this field. She won that race by 25 lengths. Anything close to that performance, she should blow this group away. I like the cut back in distance. I like the little bit of a layoff to give her time to recover from that wet track that she performed at. So I'm going to be singling Gerrymander here. No one else really stood out to me. I mean, Olivia Darling is good. She's had a couple good races. Intrepid Daydream, interesting. Gaffleon, Safi Joseph down in South Florida is always a combination I like, especially coming off of a strong second place finish in Gulfstream right before Christmas, and then a bunch of wins up at Delaware, Pimlico, and Laurel. So got second in his first race here in Gulfstream after having some success in that Mid-Atlantic track circuit. So Intrepid Daydream, one I would like, but she's out of here. Also kind of interesting. Dreamster's interesting, but I think Gerrymander, if you're going to be singling in the sequence, Gerrymander has the most upside. And I think with a 10-horse field, you will get a good price, especially after her bad performance last time. So singling Gerrymander to start our sequence off in leg number 1. Leg 2, race 10, we have the grade 2 Pegasus Filly Mare Turf going a mile and a 16th on the turf. We've got 12 horses with 1 also eligible. I'm going to start off going 3 deep here. The first horse I'm going to be starting with is the number 4 horse, Star Fortress. Now this horse for Sherry DeVoe, Luis Saez, came from Europe. First race here in North America, won by 10 lengths, 101 Brisnet speed figure at Churchill Downs back in November. So had a little bit of a layoff here, but it's always interesting seeing these horses that kind of struggle in Europe. They've got that good turf form. They're firing against group company over there. Then they come to America and they just perform very well. So really impressed by that first performance here. And you got to love the confidence. Second race in North America going against this tough field here. So really love Star Fortress, love the speed figures, love the training regiment that she's facing there. Luis Saez, always good down here in South Florida. Moving to the outside, number 6 horse, Ruby Nell, Richard Mandela, Frankie Dettori. The thing I love about Ruby Nell, this is a California horse through and through. She's only really raced at Santa Anita and Del Mar. So Mandela has a level of confidence shipping her all the way over here. There are some good turf races out there, but he's got a lot of confidence shipping her across country. Frankie Dettori, again, we know he's one of the best turf jockeys in the world. Now he's going to be racing in North America pretty much all year long exclusively. So I don't know how the Del Mar and Santa Anita turf will translate to good performance here in South Florida. The Gulfstream turf always plays a little bit weird. Everyone makes fun of it for being kind of poor quality. I'm not going to say anything to that matter. Hopefully we can at least stay on the turf and it doesn't rain out this weekend. But Ruby Nell was performing very well in California. Last out 98 Brisnet speed figure, first place by 4 lengths. Kind of fired a dud 2 back, but still a really impressive speed figure in that grade 1 at Del Mar. And before that was just wins. So this is a very good horse. Love the confidence shipping out here. First time racing as a 4-year-old. So Ruby Nell, definitely one I want to be considering. And then speaking of California horses, the other horse I want to be including here is the number 9 horse, Didia. Absolutely love this horse. Had her in the Breeders' Cup. She kind of threw up a dud, but those were very good horses she was running against and just got outclassed. But if you look at her past performances there, I think it's like 8 wins in 9 races, only 1 second. That was close to a really good horse. So Dia, I loved her in the Breeders' Cup. She's coming back here, very confident. Jose Ortiz, again, shipping from South California over to South Florida. She does have more experience traveling. She's raced at Belmont. She's raced at Churchill, at Fairgrounds. So I love her versatility. I think Didia is going to be very dangerous here. So these are the only 3 that I think have a shot. No one else I really want to consider here. So I'm going 3 deep: Star Fortress, Ruby Nell, and Didia. Next up, we're going to go to leg 3, race number 11, the grade 3 Fred W. Huber, going 1 mile on the dirt. I went a little bit deep here because I want to fade the number 1 horse, Hejazi. Hejazi is Bob Baffert, Flavian Pratt. Probably a pretty good horse. Might be a monster. Who knows? But nothing it did last year was like super impressive. Got second in the Malibu to Speedboat Beach, who Speedboat Beach is pretty good. Won an allowance race, got second in the Lafayette. But before that was just not living up to expectations. Everyone was talking about Hejazi all spring last year and how that horse is supposed to be really, really good for Bob Baffert. Never really showed up. So I'm going to just fade Hejazi, let him win here, and hopefully I can get some value by going deeper elsewhere. First horse I'm going to be including is the number 3 horse, Steal My Sunshine, with Paco Lopez. This horse has been running here down at Gulfstream for a while now, so I love kind of the home turf angle by Constitution. Was running in the Harlan Handicap, got 4th in that race, but put up a 99 Brisnet, 2 back, a 101 Brisnet, winning by 4.25 lengths. That was back in October here at Gulfstream, going a mile. So I like that he has experience at Gulfstream, going a mile, putting up fast fractions. Horses turning 5, so has experience racing against older horses consistently. Is going to be a bigger stage than he's been on before. Most he's done before is a grade 2 in the Gulfstream Park Mile, where he got 5th. So we'll see. He's got some pedigree there. I want to be surprised if he wins. Hopefully we can get a good price there. Moving outside to the number 6 horse, Gilmore, for Brendan Walsh and Jose Ortiz. Another horse, freshly turned 4, so first time really running against older horses consistently. Was in that Mr. Prospector at Gulfstream already. Got 4th that day, well beaten, but still beat some pretty good horses in that field, including Dreaming of Kona, whose 2 is inside. I like the pedigree here, Twirling Candy. I like the workouts that he's been putting up. And I like Brendan Walsh here, and I like that Jose is keeping the mount. Jose's got some options here. So Brendan Walsh, Jose Ortiz, Gilmore, the speed figures are there. And the experience at Gulfstream that last race. Worth a shot here. I think you should get a pretty long price, especially with this deep of a field and with Hejazi taking a ton of money there. Next up, number 8, Accretive for Chad Brown and Irad Ortiz for Klarovich Stables. Again, whenever you see Chad Brown and Klarovich and they're running on dirt, you got to take a second look at that, because that's usually a turf combination if I've ever seen one. And if they're feeling confident enough to consistently run this horse on dirt, then they feel good about it. Last out in the Cigar Mile, got 10th place. Wasn't really part of that race. It was a sloppy track that day. Got very tired. So I think hopefully we'll get a dry track going a mile. This horse has tried a mile twice before that sloppy track and did fairly well in both of those. Got 1st in one, 3rd in the other. Should have the energy to stick with it. Should sit about mid-pack, right in that 3rd or 4th position. If you can stay close to the lead and we don't get a significantly huge pace, should be right in the position to pounce. So like the breeding, like the ownership, like the combination that we've got there. So Aqueduct going to be my 3rd option here. And then my 4th option going to the outside, the number 11 horse, Tumbarumba from Brian Lynch and Luis Saez. Excuse me, this horse posted back-to-back triple-digit Brisnet speed figures, a 103 and a 105. One at Fairgrounds, one at Remington Park. So shipping in, no real experience here at Gulfstream, but has experience at a lot of different places. Keeneland, Churchill, Ellis Park, Remington Park, Fairgrounds. You got to love a fighter like that. When they're racing in Texas, they're racing in Louisiana and Oklahoma and Kentucky. I love seeing the versatility there instead of just being a one-track pony, as I like to call them. So love seeing them ship in. The speed figure is incredible compared to everyone else here on the field. Was easily the favorite last out. Got beaten second. Just got caught at the wire. So hopefully turn the tide here. I don't like the outside post, but I think you'll get a fairly good price on him. I don't think a ton of people are going to be betting horses that are running at Remington and Ellis against a Bob Baffert monster, as you would say. So I'm hoping one of these 4 gets a good pace setup. A lot of them are kind of mid-pack. I'm not looking for, especially in a field this deep, a deep closer. So Steel Sunshine's probably the deepest closer that I want to get here. The other 3 should be more forwardly placed and will be part of that pace. Moving on to leg number 4, race 12, the Grade 1 Pegasus turf, going 1 mile and 1/8 on the turf. I'm going to go with the first horse I'm going to pick is the number 3 horse, Integration, for Sugar McGahee, Tyler Gaffleone. So this horse has run 3 times and has won 3 times. You're seeing consistent performance here. Gaff rode him on his maiden, and then you had Kendrick Carmouche run in the next 2 races at Colonial and Aqueduct. Hasn't run since November, so the layoff's something to be concerned about. But again, a horse has raced 3 times and has won 3 times. No real knocks there. The speed figures are consistently growing. 85 in its maiden, 96 in that grade 3, 97 in the grade 2. So has experience winning graded stakes. No reason not to include this horse. Style should be sitting a little bit further back. Hopefully we'll be able to close into a Gaff. Has a ton of experience down here in South Florida. So he'll know how to properly navigate that. Gaff on turf. Love that angle. Shug too. He's been very, very careful with this horse, and I love to see that. So I think, if this horse wins here, could be prepped for a really big year. Moving to the outside, number 9, and that is Warm Heart for Aidan O'Brien and Ryan Moore. This horse is all over the place. You got to love this horse. Is running in Ireland, in Great Britain, ran in France, came over to Santa Anita on that for the Breeders' Cup, got second by a neck to Inspiral. Inspiral is very, very good. And then went over to Hong Kong and now back in South Florida. You got to love the level of confidence that the ownership group and Aidan O'Brien are having this horse to just ship her all over the world and to run against the boys here. I think that's huge. She's going to be, I think, a good favorite in this field. But again, you're getting 12 horses. She's going to be a favorite here. I'm going to include her. I would love to see her win. I think she's going to face some difficult competition, but she's shown that she's able to win anywhere and anytime. So I want to be including Warm Heart. And the next one I want to be including, the last one for this one, is the number 11 horse, Main Event, for George Weaver, Javier Castellano. This horse, again, back-to-back wins, 94 Brisbane in a claiming race, or in an optional claimer, 95 in a stakes race down here at Gulfstream. So again, love seeing stakes performance wins at Gulfstream against similar competition. To step up in class, this horse did fairly well last year. 2 years ago, was racing in the Santa Anita Derby and the American Turf, and had that kind of 3-year-old turf season last year. Didn't really race in too many stakes races, was in the allowance level for a lot of the year, and then came back in December for its first stakes win. So essentially almost took a year off from good competition, wasn't really doing well, and then something clicked, ended last season, started performing well again. I think you'll get a good price here. But I think Main Event is one worth considering with his style of going to the lead. This horse can get on the lead, and if he can set slow fractions in a field of this size, and if he's able to power home, those closers are going to be bumping into each other, trying to make up ground where he's just going to be able to power home. So main event's the third one that I want to be taking in this race. Some other good horses. I mean, Web Slinger had a good beginning of last year, kind of faded off. Ad Homo, Masterpiece, Cheryl Spite. These are these classic turf grinders that are in every single race we see. Every single graded stakes race we'll see on the turf this year. So I'm going to be fading them this time. But if one of them pops a huge race here, who knows, maybe setting up for a big second half of the season. And then lastly, we're going to the main event, leg 5, race number 13, the Pegasus World Cup, going 1 mile and 1/8 on the dirt. Favoritism on National Treasure, Bob Baffert horse. National Treasure had a very good end of last year in that Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile against Cody's Wish. See, the thing is, this is not a mile. This is 1 mile and 1/8. I know he won the Preakness, which went longer, but he got absolutely slow fractions in the Preakness. No one was really pressing him. Mage, who's a closer, was close in that race, and National Treasure was able to win. And all the other races last year kind of struggled in. He had a monster performance against Cody's Wish in that Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile, and so he might be very, very good. I think he's going to be better as a one-turn horse, like as a miler. And I know that Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile is at 2 turns, but I think he'll be better as a pure sprinter or miler. We'll love him in the Met Mile, something like that. I think this field's a little bit too big, and this race is a little bit too long for what he needs. And that extra 1/8 of a mile isn't huge. It's not like he's running a 1.25 mile classic distance. So he could be able to handle it. But with all those question marks and with, I think, the amount of money that he's going to be getting as the Bob Baffert favorite, I'm going to be trying to fade him here. And there's 2 horses that I'm going to be choosing. The first is the number 8 horse, First Mission. This horse was good last year. 3-year-old, was kind of on that Derby prep, but not really. Ran in 2 maidens early on in the season, then ran into Lexington, won that race, just wasn't ready for the Derby at the time. Came back in an allowance race in October, won that race, and then fired back in the Clark. Got second by a nose to a horse named Trademark. But I think of the 2 horses in that race, I liked First Mission better, and I like the upside that First Mission offers over Trademark. Trademark's kind of an older horse, has been doing this for a while, so you know where he's at. First Mission had a light 3-year-old season, could be having a very strong improving 4-year-old season for Brad Cox, similar to a horse from a few years ago named Nick's Go. So I want to be looking at First Mission as my top choice in this race. The other horse that I want to be throwing in here is another local favorite of mine. That's Skippy Longstocking in number 12, in the 12 spot for Saffie Joseph and Tyler Gaffleone. Something I love about this horse is Tyler Gaffleone last out rode another horse named O'Connor, who's also in this race for Saffie Joseph, but he's choosing to ride Skippy instead of O'Connor. And I think O'Connor had a good last out too. But of the 2, Gaff thinks this is the best. Saffie trains both of them, so it's not a trainer loyalty type thing. Saffie and Tyler, I think Skippy Longstocking is the better of the 2. So he's sticking with that horse. Skippy had a good beginning of last year. He was in the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile, so that race with National Treasure and Cody's Wish, Skippy was able to get 3rd. Was second most of the race, was hanging with National Treasure. Just kind of got passed by Cody's Wish as he got tired. Absolutely no shame. Still got 104 Brisnet speed figure. Race before that, got 100 Brisnet speed figure in the Charlestown Classic, where he won easily by 5 lengths. 106, 2 races back in the Cornhusker at Prairie Meadows. Got second that race. So this horse has been doing things all of last year, putting up triple-digit Brisnet and Beyer figures, doing everything right. I don't like the far outside post, but I think he'll be able to get to the lead, sit with National Treasure, push, and I'm hoping National Treasure gets tired with more push than he did in the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile. Skippy's going to be the first one to get that jump. So I think First Mission, Skippy will be sitting in that 2nd, 3rd, 4th positions of these horses, and both of them will have first jump at National Treasure as they turn for home. So going 2 deep here with the number 8 horse, First Mission, number 12 horse, Skippy Longstockings. A lot of respect for National Treasure. I just think for the price and for first off against really good horses, This year, I'm going to pass. Senor Buscador is another one, classic clanger. He did well in the Classic last year. I just think the closer in this field of this size isn't going to do well. So here's my selections. Race 9, we're singling the 8 Gerrymander. Race 10, we're going 4, 6, 9. Race 11, 3, 6, 8, 11. Race 12, 3, 9, 11. And race number 13, 8 and 12. Don't have the cost here, but the cost is $72. First pick 5 of the year. Going to splurge a little bit, I guess. Usually I like to do 2 singles and go a little bit deeper, but couldn't narrow it down in that last race. So $72 for the pick 5. Good luck to everyone. We're happy to be back. We're going to be doing all the Derby preps as we get along into the season. Keep following along. I'm Horse Guy Mike. Follow along at Twitter at Horse Guy Mike, at Trust the Profits. Make sure to like and subscribe. And good luck to everyone this year as we get into the heavy season of horse racing.